back to your time at Cash Money. How was that for you? And over the years, a lot of people, talk down on doing business with Birdman. So talk about that and doing business with Birdman.
Business with Birdman for me was incredible. I don't know why it was bad for other people. I think he made a lot of people a lot of money. I think they made a lot of money with him. The number one thing I always say I took from Cash Money is work ethic. I've been around a lot of people in this business that don't nobody work as hard as Cash Money Records. Like Birdman and Lil Wayne, work ethic is unbelievable. And what they teach you there is the work ethic. It's a very, get out in these fields and get it done. You know what I'm saying? Get out in the field. They working. They not fucking around. They not taking days off. If there's 365 days in the year, they probably work at 340 of them motherfuckers. So it was a good amount of time, but that's what I picked up the most. I think that became the token gem of being with them. How to work, how to record, how to go when you don't feel like recording.
Right. Was that story? It happened a long time ago. It was a video, and I don't know if you know or not. Well, supposedly Lil Wayne, I think he was in Cali, and they said, like, I don't know what set it was that surrounded his car. Was that true? You know anything about that?
That didn't happen to Lil Wayne. That happened to Birdman.
That was Birdman. Okay, so that was real. Okay.
That was real. That was real. They was in a Valley Crip gang neighborhood.
Oh, okay. It was Crip. Okay, I got you.
And it was literally right behind Spider Low Studio. So a lot of Crips hung right there. And it was always a certain feel that Crips had about them because, it's cripping and blood. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what are you really representing? So it's only a matter of time for all of that stuff kind of come around to see what you're really about.
Gotcha. He just Birdman just recently went on an interview and he explained himself about obviously kissing Lil Wayne years ago. People took a lot of joking with that, and he did his explanation. I bought it. I felt it. You know what I'm saying? Because I got a son and I kiss him on his forehead. I'll kiss him on the fucking lips, but that's neither here nor there. If that's your prerogative, if that's your son, that's your son. Talk about that. The whole kissing thing? Do you think that was overblown and overshot years and years? And do you how do you think about it?
Hell no, it wasn't overblown. It was weird. It was strange to people.
Yeah.
But I agree the relationship is very much father and son. And in our communities, we don't kiss our sons on the lip. But Bird is he's exposed to so much culture and so many different ideas. He's such a brilliant person, very, observant and intelligent. So I don't know what the fuck they was thinking personally, but I never seen him do it. I heard about it. I almost think he did the shit on purpose on TV just to talk shit.
That kind of genius.
I don't know, you know what I mean? So their relationship very much is father and son, though. That is no joke. That's real.
Talk to us, man, about any new music, anything in the works right now?
A ton of new music. It's just about time. Y'all ain't been to LA in so long, man. Y'all haven't been to LA. The world hasn't been to LA in so long. A lot of the LA rappers, a lot of the rappers from the West taking y'all on, they on vacation. So they rapping about what they seeing on vacation. It's about time somebody bring y'all back through LAX. So that's all I've been focused on.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that, in particular, West Coast artists, you said they on vacation, but what do you think they're getting away from the sound? They're getting away from the storytelling of what's going on out West? And what do you bring in to bring it back to LA, bring it back to the West?
I think they living vicariously through the internet. I think the internet has made one big city that the whole world connects to. I like to call it Internet California, and everybody is just saying the same culture and talking the same way and acting the same way and wearing the same outfits, and they're not really going outside and talking about what they saying outside. They talking the way the internet talks. So I think that's what you're missing.
Talk to us, man, about coming up, in LA, by way of I think Watts and Compton. I think both your parents live in those different areas, so you spent time in both of those areas. How did that? What was your childhood like growing up out there? Because on the East Coast, we only hear stories about like the Watts and different Compton. So talk to us about that, man. Take us through that journey.
It was a lot of fun. A lot of black folks, a lot of fun. You know, the same trauma that don't seem like trauma as it's happening, but somehow you take all of this craziness, you know, going on and still, you know, have a really great life. You have a good life. So I seen some things, a lot of things I probably shouldn't have seen, but I'm not crying about it. I'm still here to talk about it. But for the most part, it was fun. You know what I'm saying? I had a lot of good times, and somehow I'm still alive to talk about it today, so it worked out.
When did you get into music? I think it was 03 dropped your first mixtape.
I dropped my first mixtape 05.
05, okay.
I got into music probably 01.
Okay. So what got you into music?
My little brother, he had just got out of YA. I think he was in YA at the time. And my mom wanted me to do something to kind of help keep him out of trouble. And he came home wanting to rap. I was already selling drugs at the time, full-fledged gangbanging and everything, just like he was. But shit, he wanted to rap with me. And so I started paying for studio time. And me, him, and my older brother at the time, we just started rapping together, making rap songs. And my older brother became a manager, and it became me and him. Me and my little brother by ourselves, K-Style. He got back in trouble, and I kept on rapping. It became therapeutic, like, you know, to talk about all the stuff like we had survived and had been surviving. So I just kept on doing it. I liked it. You know, it was a way to stay articulate and sharp, and it was therapeutic. The mic became like my therapist. It would just listen to me. So I just kept on doing it.
Right. So when you were rapping, how were you perceived, not only, you know, in Cali, but outside of Cali, East Coast, South? How did they rock with your music?
Shit, I don't think nobody outside of the east side of, you know, I don't know if nobody outside of the little small area heard a lot of my first stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's how I knew we had something. We had certain songs that was popping between the 2 or 3 neighborhoods. Our neighborhood, the Mona Parks, and the PJs. You know what I'm saying? We would have songs that different homies around our way was bumping. Mm-hmm. And it was like, oh, we got something. That's how I knew we could actually do it seriously. So that was good enough at first. And by the time I got to White Lightning, you know, this is 2005 and 6. That's when I started realizing, okay, I need to make an imprint on the whole West Coast, on California, on Southern California, you know, and really go after it. And so for the most part, I got a lot of love. You know what I'm saying? My reputation held up really well. You know, so when people listen to the music, they knew that. The music itself was produced really well. It was engineered well. It was a really great project. So I always got love for the most part from here, there, anywhere I went to. Even when first time I went to New York, I got love. So I don't recall really going anywhere and not getting love.
It was something Deion Sanders dropped. I was trying to find the exact quote, but I'll paraphrase it. He was basically talking about when you get into football, when you get into sports or any kind of profession, and you're a child and you live that street lifestyle, you can't be both. You can't be a gangbanger. You can't be an athlete. You got to pick the two. I guess the same can kind of correlate to music as well, because we see a lot of the youngsters nowadays letting the lifestyle that they once lived getting interfered with a lot of what they're doing now on a business level. How at the time when you got into music, how was it to try to separate the two between the lifestyle outside of the record label, outside of the booth, what you were trying to do with your profession, and how did you evolve in that?
Before you even start doing anything outside of, you know, the coach, before you get into football, before you get into rapping, just being a drug dealer, you learn that same lesson. You can't be a really great drug dealer and a really you know, you can't really drug dealer, really great gangbanger. They don't go together. Eventually, you just got to become a man and do your business. So I was already prepared for what I had to do, even in the music business, just by selling Sherm, selling PCP. It does. Like, I already knew what I had to do in the music business, so it came second nature. And you from the east side, you know what I'm saying? The neighborhoods are smaller. You know, all the hoods and the sections are smaller. So you really got to know how to be a diplomat. You have to know how to coexist, you know, You got to find some level of diplomacy, man, because you'll be in shit every day without it. I mean, every day you leave out the neighborhood, you're gonna run into somebody else from somewhere else.
Right.
Take us back again. The psychology of joining a gang. May said a while ago that was the weakest thing a black man could do or a man could do is join a gang. So take us back to, you joining the gang and why you joined the gang back then.
I remember May said that was lame as fuck.
Yeah.
You don't join a gang, man. You from where you from.
Got you.
You don't join it. It's like I was talking to one of my partners from New York, and I'm like, before y'all had Crips and Bloods, y'all had gangs. It's a confusion that just because Crips and Bloods is at the end, that makes it different than any other gang. It's not. It's sections is where you grow up at with, which people you grow up with. You got a bunch of poor people fighting over resources. So the poor people I grew up with, we stuck together. That's all. And even if you didn't want to, everybody was going to look at you as a reflection of those other poor people from that community. So you don't really join a gang. It's not like a fraternity or some shit where you step in and you get hated and shit. You from where you from in its simplest, in the simplest emphasis, it's very much where you live at is where you from. It's no different. Your friend is your friend. People's mothers, people's fathers, people's kids. All my homies, I knew their moms and dads and grandmothers. Now I know their children, and some of their children got children. So it's one of those things that it get a really weird, ignorant rap. And it's crazy when you talk to black people, like from Mesa say that it was just stupid. And there's no reason for him to be that ignorant on a black culture as a black man when you could just reach out and be like, yo, how does this really work? Versus making some stake based off a fucking television show or something. I don't know where you get that clown that's like joining a gang. Like, what the fuck you mean? Like, you and your friend go somewhere and somebody jump on your friend that you grew up with, you're going to stand up for him. You're going to be like, you know what? You got to fight these guys by yourself. What the fuck is he thinking?
I'm glad you say that because when people hear the word gang or they get that bad stigma, like every man or every woman that joins a gang is automatically violent or somebody that wants to go ahead and commit crime with somebody. And that could, I'm sure, be farthest from the truth. I'm not in the gang to speak on it directly, but I know it's a lot of good brothers and sisters that are. And their first initial instinct to get into it wasn't to be violent or anything like that. It was the camaraderie, it was the brotherhood, sisterhood that was within the community, and they wanted to be a part of that. And that doesn't get brought up enough. But at the same time, on the same token, we see it seemed like throughout time, it was a shift within gang culture, within the culture of the sets, that it became violent amongst the brothers and the sisters within different communities. When did that trend start happening? And how do you feel about that now, sitting at it back as an OG?
So even now, right, to be a gangster is just being willing to commit a crime to advance your agenda, right? That's all what being a gangster is, a group of men willing to commit a crime to advance their agendas. That's why you can look at the police as gangsters. You can look at, the politicians as gangsters, businessmen as gangsters, big pharma as gangsters. You feel me? Everybody's committing crime to advance their agendas. It's just when you poor, the crimes are a little bit more primitive. They're not as bad as they are at the highest level. For every gang shooting, big pharma might have knocked off 1 million people. It's just levels to this shit. So, as far as it being violent, it's still poor people fighting over resources. You know what I mean? Poor people fighting over resources. Poor people overvaluing reputation because that's your sole possession. So everything is about your reputation or pride because that's the only thing you own. You don't even have a second pair of shoes. Again, if you want people to change, if people had other reasons and other things to be, to hold valuable, they wouldn't most likely they wouldn't overvalue pride or reputation. And that's where the violence comes in. You know what I'm saying? Poor people fighting over resources or overvaluing pride and reputation. That's all they have. It's your sole possession. Like if you look at the film New Jack City, how they started, they were all they had. That was their motto. We all we got. And then Nino got some money. And then Nino got the Carter. And Nino got some girls. And Nino got everything. And then G Money became expendable. So it's kind of You know, people fight because, again, those are the two reasons. Those are guaranteed the two reasons for the most part. I mean, being overprotective, you know, of such few possessions.
Right. To talk about the some of the rappers who may disrespect gang life. A few years ago, you had a situation with Young Thug when he was throwing up some signs and you put up as disrespectful. So talk about that and some of the rappers in the game that may not necessarily be down, but just throwing signs and stuff to look cool. Could you speak on that?
Shit, I think Young Thug was down. I thought Young Thug knew exactly what he was doing. I think when the motherfucking fire got up under his ass, he just changed his opinion. And that talk that he representing being a blood, and that's a family stack, like an Inglewood family stack. That's how they stack. Feel me? He know what a blood is. They know where they spell them C's and put K's instead. They know they being disrespectful. They just play ignorant when the fire get up under their ass. He knew in that video he was saying CK. He wasn't retarded. He just didn't want to stand up for that again when the fire get there. It's a different kind of fire when you start disrespecting a bunch of grown men on purpose. So, but I don't think for 2 seconds that he's somebody that's not affiliated or not a gangster. I just think he didn't want to keep it gangster when it was time. If I did some shit like that, nigga, I meant what I said. When he did the shit, he just backed it down. So, but he very much is a gangster. He got a reputation. People talk about the shit he doing. But again, with disrespect is a whole nother level. So I wouldn't say they're disrespecting. I just don't think they understand what makes it work. You know what I mean? Not particularly him, but I think a lot of people are not joining gangs or the concept of being a part of gangs. You know, the reason I would kill and shoot over my homies is we've been knowing each other since we were kids, little kids. You know what I mean? That's what make you throw your life away, somebody that you feel is your brother. But if you just met somebody on Tuesday and you're going to throw your life away, you should have joined the goddamn. If you met somebody Tuesday and you're going to throw your life away Friday, you should have joined the military. They pay you for the shit.
Yeah.
Don't just journey over to a random neighborhood territory, go to somebody's territory and then just become a part of their infantry. That's just dumb. That shit free too. They'll pay you to do the same thing in the military, buy you a house. They'll put you through college. You could make it worth your while, but you gonna roll over into the A trades and you didn't live over there and you just gonna be a part of their, infantry, their military for what? You don't even know nobody.
Great points.
Let me ask you this, because it seems like, and I could be wrong, but the industry kind of makes a light of their artists, their rap, their hip hop artists living these gangster lifestyles. And we had our man Faison Love on about a year ago now, and he obviously has some things to say about our man Davies. Yep, absolutely. And then we see what happened with 6ix9ine, and I'm not putting Davies and 6ix9ine in any kind of similar box, but I'm in hip hop in general, right? It seems like a lot of them are playing roles that they aren't really in real life. And those roles typically are the gangster lifestyle, the blood, the Crip, whatever the case may be. In your opinion, what's the percentage of rappers that are living that fake lifestyle? And why do you think, if in fact the industry is pushing it, why do you think the industry pushes that lifestyle in particular?
So I met Dave probably 2 or 3 years before everybody else got a wind of him. He was a 30 Crip then.
Okay, good word.
So I seen Faison on his line, but I don't know the depth of whatever they shit is. You know what I mean? But Dave for sure, when I met Cuz, he was a Crip. You know what I mean? For whatever that is worth. Like he was a Crip. I met him. We was in Harlem in a blood neighborhood on a basketball court. Feel me, chopping it up. And I seen Cuz, and he was a Crip. You know what I'm saying? He was pushing his line. So I definitely don't think gangbanging stops here. I think a lot of real older G's like Faison and different homies, they feel like, they don't look at it the same way over there. I've been over there. I know these niggas are serious. I've been to BX in certain hoods, cuz, and them niggas is cripping. Them niggas is on. Ain't no question. So I respect anybody that's standing up for their friends in their neighborhood anyway. That's your thing. However you title it is unimportant to me. The second part of your question, is there a percentage? I don't know. I mean, I think the industry seems like it's pushing it. Hip hop is so much especially once you get out of New York, hip hop is so much rooted in culture. It's rooted in culture in New York as well, but being hip hop just means the art of rapping, the art of being a DJ, the art of dancing, the art of tagging, all of those things, the lessons, all stuff. And that's it. But for us outside of New York, right, you have to, outside of the East, you have to really bring your culture and represent it to be, a part of hip hop, or for the rest of the country to give you any activity, for them to fuck with your shit. So gang culture is such a marketable culture because it's represented really well with, fashion is represented really well with language, is represented really well with, a lot of, simple things that anybody could do. Anybody could be a Crip for Halloween. Anybody could be a LA Crip for Halloween. There's an outfit to buy. You know what I mean? It's a way to talk. It's a cuisine. It's a beverage. It's a 40-ounce beverage you can carry and look the part. To be a New York nigga, it's the same way. You could, that cultural. You could wear some baggy jeans, a bubble coat, and some Timbs, and say son, and have the lingo, and it's there. So I think those two are the most emulated in all of the country and all of the world because our cultures are so, overrepresented. It's simple. It's a uniform. Everything about the surface of it is really simple. So I think that's why the industry tends to lean that way, because you can see the surface of it. It's so easy to fool people. Nobody asks, for depth in culture. They don't ask for morality. They don't ask for social norms. They don't ask for, any of those things. The economy, all the other elements in culture that make up culture. The average person that listens to hip hop, they don't ask for it. They just asking for the surface, the language, the fashion, and the cuisine. It's simple. So hip hop is all about marketing culture. That's an easy culture to market.
Right. Now, speaking of culture, I heard you talking about Drake. Could you explain what you were talking about with him? You said that he, and correct me if I'm wrong, isn't really hip hop, but more so rap. Can you explain that to our audience?
I think we're going into a phase of mainstream rap. Hip hop didn't create rap. Rap was around before hip hop. We popularized rap, right? We didn't create DJing. We popularized DJing. We didn't create dancing. We popularized the style of dancing. We wasn't the first friend on the wall. We popularized these things. And so anytime somebody does them, we automatically assume that they're part of a culture. Drake is not. Drake is one of the first people that's a mainstream rapper. He's a success story from, a suburb in Toronto, Canada. He's not about representing culture. And I've compared him to Madonna. Madonna is another super global icon who was able to go around and kind of colonize sounds and create global smash records with any sound she touched. And that's very much Drake. He can go to Memphis and work with that style and make a smash hit record. He could come to the West Coast and make YOLO, you know what I'm saying, with us. And he can go to, some cast that's in New York and make starting from the bottom. Like he can go to the Midwest and do anything. Like he's a very much a blank canvas. And hip hop is very much a painted canvas. Drake can paint anything he wants on his own canvas. He doesn't bear the burden of any culture. And when you see him, you don't necessarily get fashion or cuisine Toronto niggas, because that ain't how Toronto niggas are. Like I know some street niggas in Toronto. But again, you get a mainstream rapper. It's a lot of different rap going on. Mainstream rap, alternative rap. But it's not all hip hop. Everybody's rapping. Everybody rapping isn't hip hop. And I think people took it as a diss because I think they assumed that I was saying he was a culture vulture or something. It's like, nah, he's still a black man. Like he's not none of that. It's just hip hop is a very cultured thing. A very cultured thing. And it's very much carrying the burden, like carrying like Jesus carrying a cross on his back or something. You know what I'm saying? It's tough, you know, to be Hove and come out and the news protesting you because you're the first person that's drug dealing, or being Snoop and you're the talking boy of cripping and gang banging. You know what I mean? That's carrying burden. That's what hip hop is all about. Carrying culture. LL, you know, to talk that way. And I think Drake's situation is unique. You know what I mean? He's a mainstream kid who's a part of a mainstream television show who came up and liked rap and loved hip hop and, you know, threw his hat in the race. And Kanye kind of made a space where that can exist. And you don't have to represent an urban street corner the way hip hop did initially. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed. Appreciate that perspective. In your opinion, hip hop, who's holding hip hop's mantle right now? New artists that you think is holding hip hop's mantle the best right now? If we think we putting Drake in the mainstream side, obviously his numbers will speak on being one of the top hip hop artists. In your opinion, who is hip hop holding it the best?
So I don't think you have the same type of quality artists that I grew up listening to as far as these bodies of work, totally representing it. I'd be not honest. I think Future does an incredible job. He did an incredible job for years. Future is very much the token boy, poster boy of Atlanta culture. You know, even when we wasn't aware that everybody was addicted to opioids, black people, you know, he came and shined a light on it. Chief Keef shined a light on Chicago culture that we didn't have any idea. You know, him and Chop, the shit they were doing about drill. I mean, it was amazing. YG does a really good job of carrying the culture of being a West Coast nigga. You know what I'm saying? And you could see the culture and how they talk. You can get a bar of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So I think those are the last guys that I remember a lot. Little Baby does a good job. He has a certain way of doing it. The Memphis niggas, that's who I would give it to.
Yeah, I rock with them. Yeah.
Them niggas is Memphis. You get everything Memphis from them. You know what I'm saying? As much as there is to get, because I don't think their culture is as simple as, like, let's say ours in New York. But man, when you hear a Memphis nigga, you almost kind of know it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And what they're doing culturally for hip hop is unbelievable. They're doing a number. You know what I'm saying? Like yo guy, Moneybag Yo. You know what I'm saying? Black Youngster.
Pooh Shiesty.
Yeah, Pooh Shiesty. You know, free cousin. I hope he gets out and shit. I think YB does a good job. Youngboy does a good job. You know, I think there's some guys that still, you know, it's not hip hop like necessarily from an Eastern perspective, but it's very much a cultural phenomenon when you see some of this shit going on.
You know what's interesting? My bad to cut you off, but you know what's interesting in what you said? You named the West Coast, you named the South, you named the Midwest. You ain't say anybody from the East Coast. It's particular with culture. Why is that? Was that by accident or?
No. So
yeah.
My favorite rapper from New York right now, that's coming up, it's probably gonna be Young M.A.
Interesting.
Right? And I feel like when you hear her talk, you hearing like some real New York shit. I think New York is in a weird place musically, you know, beat-wise. I think you could hear entirely, you know, this is the motherfucking trend-setting capital of the culture that we call hip hop. And I think they're just trying to figure it out. So I think, you know what I mean? I don't know I don't believe in the drill sound just yet. You know, I mean, I could be wrong, but I wouldn't bet on it. But I love what Young M.A. does. I love what A Boogie does, but I don't think I get enough New York from when I listen to a lot of the new stuff. You know what I'm saying? When I hear Young M.A., you know, pre her doing this drill album she just did, I would get it. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, yo, like, if you want to hear New York, you know, go listen to Young M.A. And certain songs, and, you know, you can feel it. So it's all about being culturally true, you know, not allowing. It's all good to let other things come in and give you like an extra turn your shit, but it's something else to like not really embrace nothing musically that your culture represents.
Definitely,
makes sense.
definitely. No,
Hell yeah, definitely.